Mahatma Gandhi, one of the most influential leaders in world history, was born on October 2nd, 1869, in the coastal town of Porbandar, India. His full name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, but he would later be honored with the title Mahatma, meaning great soul. From a young age, Gandhi was deeply influenced by the values of honesty, nonviolence, and self-discipline, which were instilled in him by his devout Hindu mother and his upbringing in a religious household. His early years were spent in Gujarat, where he received his primary education before moving to Rajkot to continue his studies. In 1888, at the age of 18, Gandhi traveled to London to pursue a law degree at University College London. It was his first experience outside of India, and he faced many cultural challenges, including difficulties with the English language, unfamiliar customs, and a vastly different way of life. However, despite these struggles, he remained connected to his Indian heritage. He adhered to a vegetarian diet, influenced by his mother's religious teachings, and became involved with the London Vegetarian Society, where he engaged with intellectuals discussing ethics and morality. He also explored different religions, studying Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam, which broadened his understanding of spiritual and moral principles. This period was crucial in shaping his thoughts on nonviolence and civil rights, concepts that would later define his legacy. After completing his law studies in 1891, Gandhi returned to India with hopes of establishing a successful legal practice. However, he struggled to find his footing as a lawyer due to his timid nature in the courtroom. In 1893, he accepted a job offer to work as a legal representative for an Indian firm in South Africa. This decision marked a turning point in his life. Upon arriving in South Africa, Gandhi was shocked to witness the severe racial discrimination faced by Indian immigrants. A defining moment occurred when he was thrown off a first-class train compartment despite holding a valid ticket, simply because of his race. This humiliating experience awakened his resolve to fight against injustice, leading to the birth of his philosophy of nonviolent resistance, or satyagraha. In South Africa, Gandhi became an activist, fighting against discriminatory laws imposed on Indians and other marginalized communities. He organized protests against unfair policies, including the infamous requirement that Indians carry identification passes at all times. In a bold act of defiance, he led a movement where thousands of Indians publicly burned their passes, demonstrating their refusal to comply with oppressive laws. This act of civil disobedience became one of his earliest demonstrations of nonviolent resistance. He also established the Tolstoy Farm, a cooperative community where people lived together, practiced self-sufficiency, and followed the principles of simple living and nonviolence. Through his efforts, he successfully negotiated better rights for Indians in South Africa, solidifying his reputation as a leader of peace and justice. In 1915, after spending over 2 decades in South Africa, Gandhi returned to India, where he found his homeland suffering under British colonial rule. He immersed himself in the struggles of the Indian people, particularly focusing on the plight of poor farmers who were being forced to grow cash crops instead of food, leading to widespread starvation. He began traveling across India, learning about the conditions of the common people and inspiring them to resist oppression through nonviolent means. One of his first major victories came in 1917 when he led the Champaran movement, which protested against British policies that exploited Indian farmers. His success in Champaran demonstrated the effectiveness of nonviolent resistance and set the stage for his future campaigns. He also played a significant role in the Quetta and Ahmedabad strikes, fighting for the rights of textile workers and peasants against unfair taxation and working conditions. One of Gandhi's most iconic protests was the Salt March of 1930. At the time, the British controlled the production and sale of salt, imposing heavy taxes on an essential commodity that millions of Indians depended on. In defiance of this unjust law, Gandhi embarked on a 240-mile march from his ashram in Sabarmati to the coastal village of Dandi, where he and his followers made their own salt from seawater. This simple yet powerful act of resistance captured the imagination of the nation and inspired millions to join the independence movement. The British responded with arrests and crackdowns, but the movement had already ignited a spirit of defiance across India. Women who had previously played a limited role in politics actively participated in the movement, making it one of the first mass civil disobedience campaigns that saw widespread female involvement. By 1942, as World War II raged on, Gandhi launched the Quit India movement, a bold call for the British to immediately leave India. His famous slogan, "Do or Die," urged Indians to continue their nonviolent struggle until independence was achieved. The British authorities reacted harshly, arresting Gandhi and thousands of his supporters. Despite the brutal repression, the movement marked a turning point in India's fight for freedom. The growing unrest and pressure eventually forced the British to reconsider their hold on India. During this period, Gandhi also suffered personal losses, including the death of his wife Kasturba while they were imprisoned, which deepened his resolve to see India free. Finally, on August 15, 1947, India achieved independence from British rule. However, Gandhi's joy was overshadowed by the partition of the country into two nations, India and Pakistan, along religious lines. The division led to widespread communal violence between Hindus and Muslims, causing immense suffering and bloodshed. Gandhi, heartbroken by the violence, dedicated himself to restoring peace, traveling to the most affected regions and urging people to embrace unity and nonviolence. He undertook multiple hunger strikes, refusing to eat until the violence ceased. His self-sacrifice had a profound effect, leading to a temporary truce between the warring communities. His actions were instrumental in convincing the Indian government to release financial aid to Pakistan, despite opposition from some nationalist factions. On January 30th, 1948, while walking to a prayer meeting in Delhi, Gandhi was assassinated by Nathuram Godse, a Hindu extremist who opposed his conciliatory stance toward Muslims. His death sent shockwaves across the world, and millions mourned the loss of the man who had led India to freedom through peace and perseverance. His funeral procession drew an enormous crowd, with people from all backgrounds paying their final respects. Despite his tragic end, Gandhi's legacy continues to inspire leaders and movements worldwide. His principles of nonviolence and truth influenced figures like Martin Luther King Jr. in the American Civil Rights Movement and Nelson Mandela in the fight against apartheid in South Africa. His teachings remind humanity that true strength lies in compassion, resilience, and the unwavering commitment to justice. Even today, Mahatma Gandhi is remembered as the father of the nation, and his life stands as a testament to the power of nonviolent resistance in the face of oppression. His writings, including Hind Swaraj and his autobiography, The Story of My Experiments with Truth, continue to provide valuable insights into his philosophy and vision for a just society.